Francis Ngannou is delivering the biggest boxing con ever. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to On Me Son. I hope you're well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So we are now in the throes of the latest big boxing event, Francis Ngannou against Anthony Joshua. And we're having the press conferences now and all is going to be revealed. The undercard is going to be revealed. And all this comes after I would call it an exhibition fight, but it was a competitive fight in certain regards. But there was nothing on the line. There were no bouts or anything on the line between Francis Ngannou, former UFC heavyweight champion, and the lineal and WBC heavyweight champion, that is Tyson Fury. They had a fight back in October, very close. Many people thought Ngannou won. I didn't, but I thought it was a very close fight, and Ngannou came out with it with a lot of pluses. You know, nobody was expecting that he could fight like that, and nobody expected Tyson Fury to be so poor as well. But regardless, no matter what people say in the comments, that Ngannou won and everything like that, no, he didn't. He lost. What I talk about is facts. The facts are, which many people claim in the comments as well, saying, oh, this is facts, when you're just making a prediction, when you're giving opinions. Okay, no, opinions and predictions are not facts. They are just that, opinions and predictions. A fact is that Tyson Fury beat Francis Ngannou. Whether you agree with that result or not is irrelevant. It's just like me saying my team, we go and play another team at football and we lose 2-1, but we were all over them and we should have scored 5 or 6 goals. We could have won, we should have won, but we didn't. That's the same here. Francis Ngannou did not beat Tyson Fury by the results. Therefore, what gives him the credentials to get another huge boxing match? Okay, he fought very well. But I've already remarked on what I thought his weaknesses were, and also, you know, coming up against another fighter who was ready for him, and also they'd seen how he could fight. They would say, well, I think this is quite an easy win for another fighter. I think if Tyson Fury comes in against Ngannou again, I think he beats him really easily this time, because you'd know how to do it. Now, I'm not saying he would knock him out. I'm not saying he would destroy him or anything like that. What I'm saying is, in the sport of boxing, he would beat him convincingly, even if it's by points. He would just have to outsmart him in the boxing sense, and he would completely beat him. And it'd be exactly the same for Anthony Joshua or any other decent heavyweights as well out there. In my opinion, they would quite easily beat Francis Ngannou. Now, that doesn't mean to say that they will, or, you know, he can't get better and he can't shock the world again, and he isn't a dangerous fighter. Of course he is. Of course he is. What I'm saying is, does he deserve to fight Anthony Joshua after losing to Tyson Fury in a non-competitive fight? So this is where I have a bit of an issue with this whole theatre that's developing. Francis Ngannou went on the Ariel Helwani show, and he's basically asked, you know, do you really want to fight for the bouts? Or do you really want to... I'm paraphrasing here, but essentially, Francis Ngannou said, well, no, I'm not really interested in the politics. I'm not really interested in the bouts. You know, if one was on the line, maybe, but, you know, that tells everything to me. He doesn't care about boxing. He doesn't care about titles. He doesn't care about trying to beat opponents to get his ranking up from a 10 or a 15 or a 10 in the WBC, and to get other governing body rankings as well, to get up to a 1-2, to get him into a contender position. No, all he's interested is the big money fights. That's all he wants. So he's not interested in boxing. He just wants a big money fight. So you say, okay, fine, he's a prize fighter, right? That's what he wants. But boxing is letting itself down by allowing this to happen. Now, I've said in a previous video, what's in this for AJ? I don't think there's anything in this for AJ. I think there's a lot of jeopardy in this for AJ. And if AJ gets beaten by Ngannou, fair play to Ngannou, but this would be the end of AJ. You have no credibility left. If Ngannou loses to AJ, then for me, he's 0 for 2. He is definitely finished in boxing, or top-level boxing. But on the Ariel Helwani show, Ngannou said, no, after AJ, I'm fighting Tyson Fury. He was adamant, no, this is going to happen. We have a 2-fight deal already in place. So what the hell is going on? He doesn't really respect boxing. I don't think he really cares about winning titles or anything. He's only there for the money. That's what he's there for, the money. That's a terrible impression, I know, but it's the money. That's all he's after. And fine, okay, if that's what he's after, that's what he's after. But it doesn't mean that he has to be allowed to do it. And I say this is the biggest con because it goes against all the principles of what boxing should be. Yes, boxing is a business. Yes, all the horrible things that you could say about boxing, you could actually label against the UFC and all the problems that they have as well. When we're talking about, oh, UFC is so much better than boxing in terms of fighters fighting the best. Well, if that was the case, then John Jones would be fighting Tom Aspinall now, or Stipe Miocic will be fighting Tom Aspinall now until John Jones gets better again. That's the kind of level that we're talking about. Or they just strip John Jones of the title, give it to Tom Aspinall. He defends his title over and over again until John Jones comes back, and then they can have a dust-up together. But there's absurdity there as well, isn't there? So we've got the same absurdity, whether it's in UFC or in boxing. But here in a crossover event where Francis Ngannou has come over, and he's basically come just to grab the cash and run. He's 38 years old. He's only going to go downhill over the next couple of years. So in his mind, he can't afford, and I've said this before as well, he can't afford to have loads of tune-up fights just to build up his ranking. He knows in himself that he has to go for the big money fights, and his name is bringing him forward. His name is bringing him into the equation, and only because he had a really good display against Tyson Fury in a nothing fight, really. But yes, whether you think it was competitive or not, yeah, look, do I think Francis Ngannou had Tyson Fury? I think he did. You know, it was very, very close. You know, he certainly knocked him down, and he certainly had the better aggression in there in the early rounds, but then Tyson Fury worked him out. Whether you agree with that or not, that's what the judges saw. Basically, that's all that matters, really, in terms of the result. So, Francis Ngannou, 0-1. Now he's got a big money fight against AJ. Regardless of the outcome of that, he thinks in his mind, I think it's a little naive here from Francis Ngannou, he thinks he's definitely going for Tyson Fury again. I don't think anybody would want to watch it. We already talked about the pay-per-view sales of the Fury against Ngannou first fight, and it's only because the Saudis are bankrolling it, just as they're bankrolling this, that people are going to be willing to pay for it. Why would anybody want to really pay for the AJ Ngannou fight? Yeah, okay, two big hitters, I suppose you're gonna pay for that. Now, if Deontay Wilder had beat Joseph Parker convincingly, AJ Deontay Wilder, that's a big pay-per-view fight. That is a one that would work in the United States, that would work around the world as well. The other big problem with this pay-per-view of Ngannou against AJ is that it's being held on a Friday night in Saudi Arabia. This is to do with the end of the Riyadh season and the beginning of Ramadan as well. But the problem is that that means that the fight will happen in the United States, certainly on the West Coast, mid to late morning on a work day. Everybody's going to be at work. Nobody's going to be watching it. So the pay-per-views are likely to bomb in the United States at least. In Canada at least. Actually, anywhere in the Americas, it's going to bomb, isn't it? In the other parts of the world, certainly around Europe and in Africa, and all around the same sort of time zone, yeah, it's going to do very well. But everywhere else, it'll probably get a poor sales. And the only reason it's happening is because the Saudis are bankrolling it. The only reason Francis Ngannou is in there, because he knows that Saudi will pay for it. If the Saudis weren't paying for it, he knows that no other promoter is going to touch him. Everybody's on the take here. Everybody knows that this is a big opportunity to earn lots and lots of money in a very short time period. But I just don't think he warrants that kind of exposure, or certainly that kind of challenge. Certainly against Tyson Fury, I didn't think he warranted it. And certainly against AJ, he doesn't. So let's just say he gets beaten by AJ. Then he's finished. But oh no. What, just because, let's just say he puts on another decent display against AJ, but ultimately he loses. So does that mean he still gets another shot at Tyson Fury? Does that mean we can set up a big money fight against Deontay Wilder? It's a bit of a nonsense. I said after the first video, I said, you know, the first fight was a novelty, it's a crossover, okay fine, let's have our bit of fun with it. I didn't necessarily think it was a great matchup or a great idea, but there we go. We all wanted the Tyson Fury-Usyk fight, we've got that fight now. You know, that's what we really wanted to see. This is a bit of a distraction, but I thought once is enough. Why do we have to keep on doing it? AJ at the time said, no, I'm not interested in gimmick fights, and I said this in the last video as well. But all of a sudden now, I think this is more of an Eddie Hearn thing, who will say, no, let's get involved in this. We can earn loads and loads of money because the Saudis are willing to pay you for it, AJ. Let's do it. It brings you front and centre. And I said this in the last video as well. This propels AJ into the front seat again, into the consciousness of all the boxing fans and the boxing socials and MMA fans and MMA socials around the world. This is what it does. This is what it does. It propels both of them into the limelight. It keeps the conversation going. I'm just not sure it's a conversation that's worth having. I'm not sure it's merited. I don't think Francis Ngannou deserves it. That's the thing. I just don't think he deserves it. Just because he came from another discipline, mixed martial arts, into boxing and did reasonably well, or very well in fact. Let's not mix our words here. He did very, very well against Tyson Fury, who really underperformed. But I said from the third or fourth round, fifth round, Francis Ngannou was spent. He was spent. He was totally gassed out. And yes, that's the reason why Tyson Fury could carry on and mass up the points thereafter. Last couple of rounds, it was a crap fight anyway. Nothing was really happening. But what is true, if Francis Ngannou worked on his gas tank a lot more, worked on his strength and conditioning and, you know, his stamina, he'll be a very serious threat for AJ and also a Tyson Fury as well. So from that point of view, you got to see how this fight develops. Yes, granted. But do I think on the basis of that fight that he deserves another top-level fight? No. Now, on the strength of that Tyson Fury performance, do I think that he should be in the ring with a Joseph Parker, with a Otto Wallin, with a Zhili Zhang, with a Dubois? Do I think he should be in that kind of arena? Yes, I do. Any of the top 10 fighters, you could say, well, okay, the WBC have handed you a top 10 ranking, fine. Let's fight some of those lower tier top 10 fighters, fine. Prove yourself there. Let's see what you really got now. Then you can come back to the big table. But he's kind of leapfrogged that. Let us know what you think in the comments below. But Francis Ngannou, is this the biggest boxing con? I'm not sure if it's by his hands, but I think the system is allowing it to be. And I think the only people who have been taken for a ride really are the people who are willing to pay for it. Let us know your thoughts. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. And I'll catch you again. Bye now.